In this fourth video in my social anxiety series, we are going to look at how to change the beliefs that drive social anxiety. In the previous videos, you learned how negative experiences in early life can lead to maladaptive beliefs, which create negative thoughts, feelings of anxiety, and physical symptoms whenever you are in a social situation. If you have missed the previous videos in this series, there is a link at the end of this video. CBT has two tools for challenging the maladaptive beliefs that drive social anxiety. These are safety behaviour reduction and behavioural experiments. Let's start with safety behaviour reduction. Safety behaviours are the things that you do to try to protect yourself from what you fear. Here are some examples of social anxiety safety behaviours. Pause the video and have a good look at them. Do you recognise any of these safety behaviours? Let me know in the comments below. The problem with safety behaviours is that they stop your maladaptive beliefs being disproved, and they are often counterproductive. For example, you may avoid social situations because you believe that people will not like you. But this means you never give people a chance to like you, and your safety behaviours might give the wrong impression. These safety behaviours send a signal to the brain that social interaction is dangerous, and that is why your heart speeds up and you feel shaky. When you have no safety behaviours, your body does not react like this. But safety behaviours have to be reduced slowly, or it overwhelms the brain's anxiety circuits. So your first task in this video is to make a list of all your safety behaviours, and then put them in order of which ones would be the hardest to give up, with the hardest at the top and the easiest at the bottom. Set yourself an objective of giving up 1 to 2 safety behaviours at a time. Only when you find yourself able to consistently resist this safety behaviour, move on to the next one on your list. Don't be in a rush. These safety behaviours will have evolved over years, so it may take many months to get just halfway up the list. But that is okay because the level of social anxiety that you feel is directly proportionate to the number of safety behaviours that you have. So even if you only manage to stop using half of your safety behaviours, you will still reduce your anxiety by 50%. Next is behavioural experiments. Behavioural experiments are used to test out and disprove the beliefs that are driving your social anxiety. You can combine behavioural experiments with your safety behaviour reduction. For example, if avoiding eye contact is the safety behaviour that you're trying to give up, try this experiment. There may be people who you always avoid eye contact with. Next time you see them, the experiment will be to make eye contact and to greet them. But before you do this, fill in a behavioural experiment form. You can get the form from the Get Self-Help website. I've put a link to it in the description under this video. Here is an example of how to fill in the behavioural experiment form. In the second column, you write the thought or belief that you are trying to challenge. For example, the belief might be that people make fun of me, so I have to avoid eye contact with them. In the third column, rate how strongly you believe this. In the fourth column, write an experiment to test this belief. In this case, the experiment is to make eye contact with someone you usually avoid and say hello to them. In the fifth column, write what you predict or fear will happen. Maybe you think you will blush and they will laugh at you, or you will have to talk to them and you'll freeze. The next column you fill in after the experiment. What actually happened? It's okay to acknowledge here that you felt anxious, but try to record objectively what really happened rather than how you felt. Remember what you learnt about emotional reasoning in the previous video. Compare what actually happened with what you predicted would happen. Now record what you learnt from this experiment. What does the result mean for your original belief? Do you need to modify that belief? In the final column, re-rate the strength of your original belief. One experiment will not completely change your belief, but you will usually find that the strength of that belief will weaken. And the more times you repeat the experiment and other experiments to test that belief, the weaker it will get. And the weaker that belief gets, the less anxious you will feel. As you start to gain confidence, try more challenging experiments, as these will fit in nicely with the next step in overcoming social anxiety, which is systematic desensitization. and I'm going to show you how to do that in the next video, which will appear here when it's released.